Hey everybody, and welcome back to the part 2 of my Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time Let's Play. So, in the previous episode we were really cut off at the end of the level, so you did sadly miss out on the cutscene that plays at the end. It isn't 100% integral to the plot, because all it is Lani Loli and Aku Aku basically establish there's a rip in the space-time continuum, and we need to collect the 4 elemental and magical masks to fix it. So it wasn't really that much of a heavy miss, thankfully. What I might do, if there's an option to watch cutscenes later on, I might go back and just replay that cutscene for you, so that's fine. As I said, this is by no means a 100% walkthrough. I just happened to get the first 12 gems because of how I play Crash. So I actually have some skins unlocked already, and these are just pre-order bonuses and just things you unlock just by natural gameplay. So I think for Coco, I'm gonna put her in her Marsupa Erectus costume, and then Crash, I think I'll have him in his Sirius upgrade. Actually, I think I'll have him in the default skin, because the only couple of skins I like for Crash are things that you get later on in the game, which I won't spoil for those who haven't seen before. So I'm going to be playing mainly as Coco because I prefer playing as her, but if you want me to swap between the two, do say. So without further ado, we're going to go to the next level. It's a lot like the old Crash, where you had a hub world type map rather than a set level room. Like, if you remember Crash 2 and 3, you had like a level room set where you could go to a different bunch of levels. They've gone back to more Crash 1 style, where you've got your big open map to traverse between the levels. Almost Mario Brothers-esque in a way. I actually prefer that system. I think it's a bit more, makes the world feel a bit more alive. And the only thing that I think is nice is that you can just quickly go to menus to get to specific levels. Or if you're trying to get specific skin, then you can just pick that skin from the menu. So I'm gonna shut up.
So, we need the other masks to close the rifts?
Correct. Now, my brother Akano is around here somewhere. Welcome to the show, for your precious masks. Behold the aforementioned putts.
Don't worry. We have a thing where we fight, he loses. It's a well-established dynamic.
Not this time. I've got a backstage pass for you to get up close and personal with my weapon of mass percussion. I'm ready to rock.
So, as I said, they bring back a lot of the older Crash villains like Engine and Embryo and Cortex. Right, so this is one of the new abilities that you have. Throughout the game, you're going to collect these masks, and they're going to give you different abilities which map to the triangle and right trigger buttons on the PlayStation. I'm not sure what the differences are on the different consoles, probably like Y button and right trigger. So if you notice, when I press the right trigger, objects phase in and out. So that's a new mechanic for platforming, which I think is very clever. The only thing that can be is that at times it can be very tricky getting your timing right, because there is quite a lot of moments later on in the game where you have to swap very quickly between the two. But it's fine. Shut up, Engine, I'm talking. So as you notice, as you platform along, you can smash the different crates and you can phase the platforms in and out of existence effectively, because you're basically swapping between dimensions, which I think is very cool. But I think it's a very cool idea on Toys for Bob's part. Like, you can tell that they've really taken their time. Oh, one thing, when a TNT crate is in an alternate dimension, it doesn't hurt you, so I went way too early on that one. But that's fine. So the same is with nitro crates. So obviously when they're like that, you can just phase through them, but when they're solid, then they will kill you. But yeah, there's a lot of precise platforming in this game, and I think that's really good. So it really goes back to what Crash was always about. It was always about being as precise as possible, but getting your timing right as well. So if you notice, you can swap in and out, which is good. I do hope everyone is doing okay, given at the time of recording everything that's going on in the world, because I know a lot of people are missing out on things like friends and work, so I think it was good that I am really glad that they released this game, because it's been a really great way to spend time with everything that's been going on. So we got another bit of showcase of grinding, so it's a bit tougher this time, but you know, as you can see, you can go underneath the rail as well. The only reason I didn't in the previous one is because there's a lot of things that will hit you. So you follow the trail almost. If you follow the fruits, then you're not likely to miss boxes, but you do have to be fairly quick. Like, I will admit, like, I probably just made that look easy, but there is a lot more to it. It's a lot harder than it actually looks. So yeah, things like stacks of boxes are back, and just a bit of precise pattern. Like, a lot of the older mechanics are back, like breaking boxes in sequence, making boxes appear. But then it helps you've still got the same moveset that you had from the third game onward. Unlike the third game where you had to like unlock certain abilities like the Super Slam and the Death Tornado. Although they've actually taken the Death Tornado out of this game, but then they've done that for a reason. And the reason why is because they basically turned the Death Tornado ability into one of the new aforementioned mask abilities. So it's still in the game. Oh, I missed that. Like I said, I'm not going to 100%, so it's not enough. Yeah, they've swapped it out into a mask ability, so it's still in the game, but it's a bit more context sensitive. Do the bonus level one here. The levels are noticeably longer in this game compared to the older games. I keep comparing it to the older games, which, you know, isn't really that fair, but at the same time, you know, it's a comparison that just has to be made. Oh crap. Yeah, the only good thing is when you die in bonus levels, it doesn't go towards your death count. You notice underneath my life counter there's now a death skull to indicate how many times I've died. That's because there's a gem reward at the end for beating the level with only dying 3 or less times. So obviously if you can beat the level and you only die 3 times, then it's like a reward almost for being good at the game. So that's pretty good. I'm just going to concentrate for a minute. But yeah, you can do a lot of cool things with this shifting world ability. You can basically use it to your advantage. So you notice how I can do that, and then clip those boxes back in for 5, and then body slam. Yeah. Like that, I'm not really going for 100%. I keep doing things that would contribute to 100%, but I'm not really going for it. This is just how I always play Crash. I just get as many boxes as I can. For you. There are lots of different alternate paths in the levels as well, which I think is really cool. That's one thing that they didn't really have in the original games, was branching pathways. I have a feeling I've missed the box up there, so that's not the end of the world. But if you are the completion type, then you've got a lot of work to do in this game. But that's not really a bad thing, you know, if you're someone who likes to be meticulous when you play games, then you know there's plenty of things to do, but there's also a good bit of rewards. There's skins, you unlock levels for the tape things that you can find, which, like I said, take the place of all the death roots. But it's just really well thought out altogether. Like, they've really put a lot of time and care into this game, and it really shows the amount of like the amount of time that they put in, the amount of detail into each level. Like, I remember when they first made Future Tense, I think it was called Future Tense, like the original level that they made for the N-Flame trilogy, and everyone was praising that because how unique and creative it was. It was using all of the different power-ups from the game that you got as you progressed. So they've basically expanded on that idea. Everyone said, oh, if they made a Crash game, it'd be brilliant. And a couple of years later down the road, after having CPR, then we got Crash 4, and it's just been, it's really, really well made. Like, they've really put the time into this game to make it the best it could possibly be. I love all the new mechanics. I love how they've incorporated older mechanics as well. So you've got things like you can now stand still and smash crates underneath for like a low hit. So if you remember in the older games, you would have to slide them, but now you are able to just, or you're just able to break them just by standing still, which makes it easier. But then it's also a natural evolution of that ability. That was nearly dead. 1, 2, 3, and then swap. But yeah, there's a lot of precise platforming in this game, but then it's also very like it feels great to do. The gameplay feels really good to play. Like it feels very natural, especially for someone who's been playing Crash for as long as I have. I've been playing this since I was a kid. That's a hidden gem up there. Nah, I'm not gonna worry about it. I can still get gems on the ultimate version anyway. But no, it's just really good, really well thought out. Like I have nothing but positives to say about this game. I'm really, really enjoying it. So that was one of the newer levels of Engines levels, because each hub level type is based around a specific villain. Although there are like some levels where you just look for the masks, which I think is a nicer change of pace rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boss, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boss. You have a bit of leeway between it, so it makes the boss encounters more memorable. And they've really redone the bosses to make them really good. Like the actual gameplay against the bosses is really clever. Like they've done some really memorable boss fights. They've done some fantastic sound designs, some level designs. One controversial thing they have done with bosses is there's now checkpoints, which some people are kind of like, oh, I don't know, that doesn't sound good. But that's only for certain bosses. And for the bosses that have them, it's actually a bit of a godsend because they can be quite challenging. Although it does kind of spoil the original idea. So these are the flashback tapes that I was talking about. Shut up, engine. No, these are the flashback tapes that I was talking about. You need to reach them without dying, and then they unlock new levels, which, as I said, are basically crashing Coco's origins. So it's that kind of idea. Like it's the death route evolved almost. It's a bit of a callback to Crash 1, where you had to complete levels without dying to unlock the gems, but they've got something else in place for that as well. They've got the insanely perfect gem. Not gem, insanely perfect relic, which is a callback to Crash 1, where you would have to beat the level and collect all of the gems. You just had to complete the level without dying and collect all the boxes. So that's a nice little callback to Crash 1. I found that... Yeah, I found that was really cool. So this is what I was on about, where you stand perfectly still and then you spin the smash crate underneath. I don't know how I feel about that mechanic, to be honest, because when it works, it's really good. But when it doesn't, it can be really frustrating, and I can see a lot of people getting frustrated with it. As I said, some people love it, some people hate it. I personally don't really mind, but I think it could have been maybe done a bit better. But that's just because it's a bit sensitive at times. So there are new mechanics in play. There's things like you get gems for collecting so many of the Wumpa fruits. So that's that little bar underneath the Wumpa fruit counter. As I collect Wumpa fruits, the bar fills up, and then you get more and more gems for however many boxes and Wumpa fruits you collect. That's a nice little reference to CTR there with Mega Mix on it. He was originally from Crash Bandicoot, I think it was the Big Adventure. It was one of the Game Boy games, but. Yeah, basically he was a fusion hybrid of all of the Crash villains. Like you've got Tiny Tiger, you can kind of see in his design, you've got Engine, you've got Tiny Tiger, you've got Cortex. He has Dingodar's tail, which is really cool. It shows it a lot better in the actual design for in his actual design for Crash Team Racing, but that's a nice little poster to have in the background of Megamix. It's a shame he doesn't show up in the game though, but I can understand why for the timeline's sake, because the timeline's sake, they're basically saying the only games that happened in the series were Crashes 1, 2, and 3. They have like nods and references to the other games, but they're not like directly mentioned by the characters, so that's pretty cool. That's really clever the way they've done that, so you have to almost jump up onto the bit above. Again, the theming of the levels alone have been really well done. Like, they've really thought about it, and it really, really shows. So I keep saying really a lot. I don't mean to. I don't mean to say really a lot. I just do. Not on purpose. But yeah, no, I love how they've made this game. I love that they've basically, over all this time, been like, yeah, let's do another Crash 4. Why not? So, I'm just gonna keep my commentary relative for now. I can do a whole nother video of singing my praises of this game. Like, I can just have some scrap gameplay in the background. But I just want to enjoy this for now, because as I said, I've done a playthrough before, and it's just so good. Like, there's some really good story moments, there's some really good character moments. They've really just improved the game overall. So let's hit that. Oh crap. Yeah, it's fine. So I'm just gonna get that life crate there, and so these are new enemies. They're very akin to Spyro enemies, I've noticed, like where you have to charge them rather than hitting them with the flame breath. Again, I would love if they did a new Spyro game, and I would definitely do a Let's Play of it if that was something they would do. So here's hoping, right? There is one thing I've worked out, is where you can do a slide jump for extra height, you can do that from crouching as well. Oh, killed by the chainsaw guy. But it's one thing that's really helpful later on in the game. You've also got new mechanics like these golden wumpa throws, which give you about 30 or 40, depending on where you find them and how efficient you are at getting them. So that all just contributes towards your wumpa through gems. Oh. I need to get the time down. So I'm terrible at killing enemies in this area. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what it is, because I think it's just where I'm rusty at playing Crash. Because I haven't played Crash properly in forever. There we go. So slide jump. Slide jump then. The only thing I think that could really be improved in this game is if they had decided to bring back some of the more obscure villains like Entrance and, you know, like the Evil Twins and Evil Crash. I was rather disappointed that Evil Crash wasn't even a skin in this game, at least I don't think he is. I haven't personally seen him. So that's kind of led me to just deduce, oh, he's not in the game, which is fine, because, you know, he was more of a Twin Sanity game. But that's one of my favourite characters in the Crash universe, was the whole evil Crash idea from Twin Sanity, where they go to the 10th dimension and they've got like doppelgangers of everyone, and there's like a whole level based around like an evil lair, and they have Spyro show up at one point. But yeah, it's just all the reason why I want a full remaster of that game, because it was just so good. Ooh. Okay, that's gonna break next jump. Yeah. I've missed one. Where have I? Ah, that. Yeah, see, they hide crates a lot in this game. So you need to really be meticulous if you're going to try and 100% this game. As I said, I love the new levels, I love the new worlds. Platforming is very good. It's a little tricky at times, but then I think that's actually good. A lot of people are sinning this game saying, oh, it's too hard. It's like, well, no, because Crash was never an easy game. You know, and especially a game that's been specifically designed for people who love the older games, I'm not surprised it's more challenging. You know, I half expected it to be more challenging. You know, when they're like, oh, we're doing a new Crash game, no one expected it to be an easy game. Although I very much think this game was more made for the fans. Like, this is very much a for the fans type game. Like, it shows in the way the game's designed, in difficulty spike later on in the game, because it's true anyone could pick up the first couple levels and probably get through them with minimal difficulty. But when you get to especially some of the very end game levels, then things get very, very tricky. So, you know, I think that it is very much more for people who love the original games. However, that's also good, because it means that you've got people like myself who love those original games. You know, they're getting their money's worth almost. You know, you definitely are going to be getting your money's worth for this game. You get loads of levels and you get plenty of replayability. The only thing that I think could have been improved is some of the base mechanics, which have moments which don't work. And I missed a couple of boxes, but that's fine. As I said, it's not 100% run, it's just me playing and enjoying. So, as you can see from that level, I did unlock the flashback tape, and like I said, you get those for reaching them without dying, and I'll just show you one of the flashback levels now. I don't know if I'll complete it or not. I haven't actually finished all the flashback levels yet on my other playthroughs, so you'll get to see me play them live and lose my will to them. So let's go and do a flashback tape, because I think we've got just about enough time to show them off. Even though we just show a little bit off, just to show how tricky they can be. Yeah, like I said, there are a lot of moments in this game which are very, very precise, although most of them are more optional, which is something I genuinely appreciate.
Experiment log. Bandicoot subject trial number 1.
So, this is supposed to be before the first game. This is basically Crash's training, if you will, to become Cortex's general.
The crates are meant to be broken. They weren't placed as an impenetrable barrier.
You got like commentary from Cortex about his thoughts on Crash. You even find out how Crash got his name, and it's a really cool, like, what Crash's full name is. You find out what his birthday is. And you find out a lot about the character of Crash, which you never would have thought, to be fair, with a character like Crash. 2, 3, 4, 5. He's a bit of a simpleton, really. You know, he's not really the kind of person who has like the most deep and elegant story in the world. You know, it's more about just kind of jumping on the boxes, having fun, and just enjoying. You probably noticed that there's a little yellow circle. That's a addition this game made to show where you're gonna hide, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out.
Interesting.
I just made that look easy. Believe me, that was not easy. That was very precise. Like, this game gets very precise near the end. So if I am making this look easy, I think it's just because I've had a bit of practice. You know, the first time going through this particular level alone, I died quite a lot. And that's how it's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be a lot of trial and error. It's supposed to just be like, you get gradually better at the game as you play it. And then the game rewards you for improving. You know, it's designed to make you want to just keep going. It's that mentality of, I died, but I can now improve. I can get better at the game. And I think that's something that this game does very well, is that whole just one more attempt kind of feeling. Which is, again, something the older games definitely had. Just, yeah. Like I said, certain areas like this, you need to smash crates in a certain order. Although you get a bit of leniency. 6, 7, 8. I did not mean to make that look so easy, but I did. So
Test complete. Well done.
I did not mean to make that look so easy, so if I did, I'm sorry, but that's basically what the flashback levels are like. They're like these super challenging reward levels, almost, as you will. So I am going to leave this episode here, because I've made some good progress today. If you are enjoying my content, please feel free to like and comment. You know, talk about it with your friends. As I said, my mic quality, it's not the best, but I do enjoy making these videos. for you. So if you like watching them, then that's awesome. So I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a nice day. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday, and just have a good time, I guess. You know, play some Crash Bandicoot, or go hang out with friends, but only in groups of 6 because we've got the pandemic going on at the minute. Or if you're in the future and the pandemic's gone, yeah, please invent time travel and take me with you. So thank you for watching. I will make more videos if you want me to make more videos. Have a good day.